my damn mic over. Excuse the sound, y'all. I'm sorry. Even though I don't think no one's on here at all. I just literally hit the stream button. Alright, what's up? What's up, y'all? We're going to get into episode 3. I'm going to give it some time, a couple minutes, and see who wants to come on. When you enter the chat, make sure you say what's up. When you enter the live, make sure you say what's up in the chat, guys. Episode 3 of Ether's World is about to start. About to get into it, y'all. We got a good topic. We ain't sharing too many clips today. It's just going to be me and you. This is called the Me and You edition. So there will be some videos where I share clips. I got one clip, but then there's going to be a lot of videos where I'm just talking to y'all. So we got one clip today. It's like literally 2 minutes long. Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. James, it's cracking. What's up, bro? Long time no see, brother. I miss you. Miss that good energy, bro. How you been? James, so today we are talking about becoming your best self. You know a lot about it. I know a lot about it. It's the main thing we've been popping on. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to use a clip by my boy. You already know what it is. Michael Jackson's my guy. So we're going to use that clip. Also, I got a good book that I'm recommending at the end. Just in case you don't stay on. I fell off a little bit. I've been playing online. What do I be playing? Let me see. I don't think I have the app. But I've been on, I think it's called 8-Ball Pool. 8-Ball Pool. So you gotta catch me on there at least. Then we definitely gotta get a game in. You still be playing? You still right? Oh, this is my guy. He got me so right with the pool game, y'all. Let me tell y'all. Literally used to get my ass beat. Remember I used to beat my ass for like 2 years? Until I finally started with it. Like, thank God. Oh, shit. Alright. Let's get straight into the episode. And whoever comes on can catch it in the playback or catch it when we start. Alright, so look, in this episode, we're going to be talking about, like I said, how to become the greatest version of yourself. So we're going to start with this Michael Jackson clip. And then I'm probably going to really speak a lot towards Michael Jackson's approach. Because at the end of the day, greatest version of yourself in many areas as far as his goals were concerned, he definitely like overdid himself. So let's just start with him once we get done with the clip. Then we'll go deeper into other things we can do that have nothing to do with the Mike Jackson world. Alright, let's get straight into it, y'all. You are watching Ether's World. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'm going live. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Right, I'm going live. Ether's World. Ether's World. Ether's World. Sit down with your girl. Ether's World. Ether's World. Ether's World. Sit down with your girl. Sit down with your girl and just relax. Just put it on the table while I'm showing y'all these stats. Facts. Stand tall, never laying on my back. No. Then I spit the truth and in the comments y'all react. Y'all react. Trending topics, we got options. We gon' learn and we gon' pop shit. All the shit that's going on around us, damn, it's never stopping. Give you what you want. No, I give you what you need. Sit down at the table, take a seat. It's time to eat. Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'm going live. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Yes, it is. It's a vibe. Right, I'm going
All right, all right. Let's get straight into it, y'all. Let's go. So, like I said, this first clip is Michael Jackson. So, one thing that I've learned when it comes to becoming the greatest version of myself, especially when I'm tapping into any of my crafts, anything I'm looking into doing as far as a podcast, if it's the music, mixing and mastering, I'm always studying the greats. So let's see what Michael Jackson has to say. Then it's just me and you. We're going to dig straight into all this info.
Believe in yourself, study the greats and become greater. And be a scientist. Dissect. Believe in yourself, study the greats and become greater. And be a scientist. Dissect. No matter what. I mean, I don't care if the whole world is against you or tease you or say you're not going to make it. Believe in yourself, no matter what.
Alright, so Mike Jackson basically reiterated. I already knew the clip. I've actually posted this clip a couple times throughout the year because Michael Jackson's my guy. It's very rare that you really get to hear him speak. There's that big London clip that goes around with him where he's out in the music industry and Matola and all that, right? But it's very, very rare that you just get like off the cuff moments of Michael Jackson. And that was some game as always. So one thing he was talking about when it comes to studying the greats, being a scientist. Now, the one thing I said, or one thing I noticed that he said that's super, super pivotal, or super, super pivotal, whatever, however you say it. So, the one thing that he said that stood out the most is believe in yourself no matter who else does, even if they think you're crazy. Now, when you think of, even if they think you're crazy, even if they think you're insane, you don't, when you think of that, when you think of the mad scientist, I've been watching a lot of Back to the Future theory. That's my favorite movie, 1, 2, and 3. So I've been going back watching a lot of different behind the scenes fan theories on the movie. But one thing that it's kind of hinted at, but the fans really pull it out, is the fact that Doc, the creator of the time machine, is a mad scientist. Even in this clip, that's like a 1-minute version of it, but the full clip, Michael Jackson goes on and name people that they called crazy. They called the Wright brothers crazy. They said Albert Einstein was a lunatic. They said, I always forget this guy's name, Benjamin Franklin. Didn't know what he was talking about. So these are all men that changed the course of history, right? But they were considered insane. So one of the main things, and one of the main reasons these people were considered insane, is because they were one of the first. They were first comers. They were what we would call today as trendsetters. And we're going to get into the actual definition of a trendsetter, because a lot of times in today's world, a lot of the words and phrases are so trendy that they get overstated and overused. Trendsetter, narcissist, all types of shit, woke, all types of words are becoming so popularized that they're overused, and we're beginning to lose the meaning of the actual word because we use it so much. You get what I'm saying? So as far as being a mad scientist goes, the second part to this is the fact that he's telling you to study your craft. When you study something inside and out, it doesn't matter if anyone else believes that you can achieve this thing. The only thing that matters is that you took your time, your due diligence, to really put in the man hours. So at the end of the day, you know exactly what it is. Like, at the end of the day, whoever's in the Back to the Future universe, they're not building a time machine. So they're not going to know the ins and the outs of how to put this time machine together. And even when we think about the time machine theory with Doc, we got to remember that that was divine intervention that gave him the flux capacitor. He literally fell off his toilet, bumped his head, and got the idea for the flux capacitor, right? So that's very telling as far as him not even, there's always other things working. So there's your preparation towards your dreams, towards your goals, but then it's you meeting the Most High halfway. So, you guys can co-create together and put it together. Now, at the end of the day, no one on the outside of you and the Most High, God, Jesus, whoever you call, whatever call him, or her, or it, is so abundant. I don't really like using names because my belief is it's so abundant it can't be named. You feel me? The energy is just so massive. So no one is on the inside of that process other than you and the Most High. Therefore, no one can calculate when you're going to get it done, how your life's going to turn out, and what things are going to be awarded to you or taken away from you in your lifetime. Now, in this Michael Jackson clip, I edited it myself. As far as the pictures you saw, I want to say we saw James Brown on the screen. We saw Fred Astaire on the screen. We saw Kelly on the screen. And we saw, there's one other, Barry Gordy and his dad. Now, these are all people that definitely shaped his life tremendously. And Michael Jackson's he's not the Michael Jackson we know without any of these people. As far as Gene Kelly and damn, I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, as far as Gene Kelly goes and Fred Astaire, now I would love to spend my day showing y'all this footage. James, you probably know what it is. You probably know what's up with Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. These motherfuckers, they dance game, y'all. More of a classical style. They definitely did a lot of tap though as well. They was tough. They was smooth. They could get raunchy with it. They was nice. Both of them white boys. They had dance game on lock back in the day. Yeah, so they was definitely killing it. So he was definitely watching them too. I want to say it's Kelly. I think there's two. I think both of them. I think with Fred Astaire and Kelly, he got iconic moves. They're not always pinpointed as much. They was dope, yo. They was dope. I was amazed. I saw all of this stuff when I was a kid, James, because my parents are a little older. But my parents are probably like your parents' age. My mom's 70-something right now. So I was growing up getting able to see a lot of things that really shaped American history, which is a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. You know what I mean? So I was kind of getting shit that would be in people's history books. I was learning it more on a first-hand experience because my parents literally experienced it. So most people my age, their parents, they don't really have the first-hand storytelling of the sit-ins and when Martin Luther King was killed and when they lined up the streets with the National Guard. Like, this is stuff that my parents was telling me. And even though we're not that far removed from it, but at the end of the day, most of my friends aren't going to have, or most people my age, I should say, aren't going to have those same experiences. They're going to have their grandmas telling them that. So that's why I'm tapped in on like older pop culture as well. But yeah, man, Kelly, Fred Astaire, they was dope. They were smooth. I suggest, especially if you're a dancer, if you're into the arts, you go back and tap into them, watch them, just for the fun of pointing out some of Michael Jackson's classic moves. You're not going to see a whole bunch, but you can point out some gestures, some walks, just certain things with them two guys. So yeah, they played a major point. We already know what James Brown did. We already know their relationship. So James Brown played a major role in shaping Michael Jackson into who he ultimately became. With these three particular people, I think in today's world, it's important that we definitely take note that Michael Jackson's younger than all these guys. So that means when he's climbing to become who he wants to be, he's not thinking in his head like, he's not shit, he's not like pooping on them. Like, F them old dudes, I'm about to do it like this. No, he took his time out and recognized them as being the masters who they were. Now, we seen Mike flip it, twist it, bop it, turn it. He did everything you could do to the music game and dance game, the video creation game. But it was the fact that he really had that legendary apprenticeship under those guys, whether it was just sitting there watching them on screen over and over and over. That's still studying. That's going to school, right? So now we move up. He gets that tutelage with Berry Gordy. When I think of Berry Gordy and Michael Jackson's relationship in a hindsight type of, like, in perspective, like, I don't think I thought too much about it as Mike was even here. But now, once he's gone, you kind of looking at the full legacy that was left behind. We can definitely say that Berry Gordy played a huge and a major role in Michael Jackson's business savvy when it comes to the music industry. Berry Gordy was like the first black man to really run his own record company. Everything was in-house, from the music writers to the producers, songwriters, all the acts, the wardrobes. So Berry Gordy was running a full ship in the time of the 50s and 60s. You know what I mean? In the time of us going through that period of transitioning into the right to vote and getting many just civil rights that we should naturally have as human beings. So Berry Gordy was running stuff in a very tumultuous time period. Michael Jackson was with him during that time period. So it definitely makes sense when we go back and hear about these stories of Michael Jackson buying the Beatles catalog, with Michael Jackson owning Sony ATV and owning, I think he owned like 50 or 60% of that catalog, meaning anytime like Adele, Beyonce, anyone that drops music, he's getting a percentage of it, Eminem. So like, he was a very shrewd businessman, but look who he was under. Look who he studied. Now, all of us, of course, we don't have the privilege to be able to study the greats firsthand, up in their face, ask them whatever question we want to. Even when you go back to the Michael Jackson, this is your movie, bro. Jackson 5 American Dream. You go back to that movie when he first really got into the studio with Berry Gordy. What was he doing? He started asking him all them questions. What does this do? What does that do? What? Hey. And he's, told him, like, you want to learn about it? You can't just touch everything. I got to teach you the game. So we know just from, and again, ownership, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, their family, that was their movie. Like, they're the ones who wrote that movie, who casted that movie. So that was really true to life. That's really what happened. So we know Berry Gordy gave him the game. Then we got the ultimate, the guy everyone poops on, Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson did the most. Anytime I think of Joe Jackson, I go back to the one scene in the Jackson 5s. All them years, Katie, I spit in that damn infirmary with the damn... like, he's going off, right? Going off with Katie. Now, I think Katie at this point is like, what's she saying? Jackie's shoes are worn clean through to his soles, right? The roof needs fixing. The da-da-da-da-da. But he's really resilient. Like, I don't give a... Like, so basically in that scene... Let me just break down the scenes. I think these may be separate scenes. But in one scene, Joe is excited. That's how it goes. Joe's excited. He pops out on the street with a van full of musical equipment. From drums, guitar, bass, mics, anything you need to start the band, right? This, back in the day... expensive as hell. There was no Guitar Center, there was no Amazon, there was none of that. So this stuff was really expensive. Let's not underestimate the price that he paid. That was probably, they owned their house, I'm assuming. Now, I don't know if they owned it outright, but that might have been a couple mortgage payments if they had to pay it. That might have been the year's mortgage payments, because sound equipment, especially in those days, was not cheap. So when Joe pops out with his American dream mentality, happy as hell about all the sound equipment he got, Catherine's looking like, you crazy mother, what? Looks crazy to her. Then she goes on to tell him, Jackie's shoes, worn clean through to his soles. Roof needs fixing. Da-da-da-da. And you are talking about, that's what it was. They're going to win the high school talent show. And you coming here talking to me about a high school talent show? She was pissed. Angela Bassett, beautiful, beautiful woman, beautiful actress. She's a beast. She holds it down, top bar when it comes to playing these mothers. Yeah, I mean, she's a beast at a lot of other roles too, but the mom roles she got pinned. So then we have Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson, what does he say to her? Oh, he's basically, I don't think this is the same scene, but Joe's thing is, as she's thinking about the maternity thing, holding it down, period. If as she's thinking about the maternity stuff, which she should, that she's the maternal figure of the household. So she ain't wrong for that. But Joe, what did Joe say? Joe said, Katie, I got a vision. I mean, all them years working in that damn steel mill, in that damn infirmary. I'm gonna get my boys out of Gary, away from these gangs, da-da. So Joe was playing his side. Yeah, I mean, that masculine energy, like, we're gonna put this plan together, we're gonna make it work. I don't care, I got the vision, I got these kids, they talented as hell, and we gotta notice, in a world that's much different than today, where it's not all about attention seeking, because in today's world, the parents are the kids are the kids, everyone's kind of in the same boat with the social media stuff going on. But Joe Jackson was a performer himself. You gotta remember, when his son broke his guitar strings, I mean, and then he made him play that song for him to prove he could play, basically, Joe, that was Joe's guitar. Joe was in the band. It was just, he didn't take off. So Joe knew that these kids, once they displayed the talent, he knew they had it. He knew if he just put his career aside and focused on making them the best they could be, putting all the attention, all the resources they possibly had, which was not much, then it could work out for him and the Jackson 5. So that's what he did. So within that, I feel like Joe Jackson, even though we know Joe and Michael always had this ongoing beef, this ongoing back and forth, but Michael Jackson, I feel like, learned the most from Joe, because Joe Jackson, that's the one. Before you get to Berry Gordy, okay, yeah, you got Fred Astaire, you got Kelly, right? But they're just people you're watching. Joe gets you to get there, to even meet Berry Gordy, which would seem pretty impossible to do. So if I'm looking at it like that, I know Mike, who was living in that small ass house with that big ass family, was like, whoa, in hindsight, my dad's a G. I mean, Papa Joe, he's a G. So all of these influences played a huge role in who Michael Jackson ultimately became and how he was able to reach those heights. At the end of the day, that's what we all have to do. We have to find our own motivations. We have to find our own things to study, our own. And sometimes it's going to be a book to study, and sometimes it's going to be an actual person. That's why this is called Study the Greats. All right, so right now we are moving into the age of Aquarius. So what I was just speaking on, we're going to want to keep in mind. When I said Michael Jackson was looking at the ones before him to kind of give him a map on where he wants to go, right? So with that being said, Michael Jackson ended up living a totally different time era. He made it all the way, like, one of his last albums that he successfully dropped before he even passed was what, in the year 2000. So Michael Jackson made it all the way up to the internet and all that. But he still knew that he would need the information of those before. Now, this is how I look at this. And this is for, especially if you young watching this, still in high school, college, you got to take heed to those who did it before you. Even if you recognize, like, at the end of the day, when I'm pursuing music, yeah, I recognize that no one's selling CDs out the trunk anymore. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to go back and really study Master P. Yeah, I mean, really study Tech 9. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about what they did. A lot of times, What we're missing is the mentality of the person. A lot of times, as you're studying, what you're truly learning is the mentality that this person or these people had to even make it. Forget the steps. The steps are something that you're gonna do. There are going to be people that don't make it that did the steps. You feel me? So the real power, the real, that real, where it's really at is basically the mentality, understanding the mentality of these people. So we're entering the age of Aquarius. This is symbolizing the start of a new era. So you're noticing a lot of things are beginning to shift, even with everything that we just faced and that we're coming out of. I believe ushered us into this new world that we're about to really delve deeper into. I mean, with more so, we're seeing the rise of cryptocurrency. We're seeing the decline in even like movies in the traditional sense, and the increase in movies on streaming platforms. We're seeing the decline in brick and mortar and the increase in digital stores. We're seeing a lot of things are starting to shift. You know what I mean? We're seeing a lot of different things. So this move into the age of Aquarius stands to impact the way that we connect with art and to the ways that we buy and sell art. Now, it's very important. I've been hearing about the age of Aquarius forever because that damn song, right? So, the age of Aquarius. They were singing about the age of Aquarius about 40 years before we even hit this age. Now, actually, you don't really hear about it too much now that we're actually in it. It is upon us, though. So, the important thing with this is to recognize where we're at. Recognize that we are heading into a new age. Pay attention, because the new age breeds new mental requirements, breeds new spiritual requirements. Certain things, certain ways you used to hold stuff before, certain ways you used to handle things before, you're not going to be able to do them in those particular ways anymore. It just won't work. You'll just feel like, okay, something's a little bit off. I used to do it exactly like this, but now that's not working. It's because we're shifting into a different frequency. So you're going to have to really be keen, pay attention, and when you see things aren't working, don't be scared to shift and try something new, because that could literally lead you into a whole different era of your life. You know what I mean? You could be being led to somewhere where you're supposed to go. All right, due to this change of eras, many of us are living with an abundance of opportunities that we were not afforded, or that were not afforded to us by our grandparents, parents, or even to our younger selves. So in a nutshell, doors that have been locked for centuries are now being busted wide open to us. So we must take full advantage. As I always say, with me being a millennial, I think anyone that was around, but with me being a millennial, I love it because I was literally a kid. When I was a kid, I saw record players. I saw 8-tracks. I played with an Atari. I played with Nintendo. And by the time I was like 5, we had Sega Genesis. You know what I mean? So we had a PC in my crib at a fairly young age. Like, you know what I mean? We might have been like the first family on the block with a PC. We got them early. So, as far as technology goes, being a millennial, we've seen everything from the past. We've seen the beginning of the computer and the internet. I mean, I remember where my mom used to deliver newspapers. And in the newspapers, I think it was Net Zero at the time, they would give out free trials of the internet. It would be like a free 30-day trial of the internet. But in the newspaper, like sleeves, you know, the little bag that you put the paper in, every bag, like it was a promotional deal they were doing. So you would take a thing, put it in a bag. You know how many of them? We had so many, and this is before I knew about the hustle, y'all. I'd have been selling free internet like a mug back then. But it was cool because we used to just give them to our friends. Like, oh, we got the internet for you. Like, bro, you don't got the internet, bro? Here, bro. Take a couple of these. Take a couple of these discs. Period. Yes, yeah, I stopped drinking too. I probably stopped drinking like, I don't know, around COVID time. It took me a little minute, bro, to realize like, but yeah, that was exactly, that was one of them things where uh, the comments might be showing up later on my end because I don't have my YouTube pulled up. But I believe you're speaking to, James, when I was saying that certain things, certain ways used to be able to work, or you know, things used to be able to work. Like for instance, I could, and this is full fledged being a nurse, CNA. I could literally have a whole night, like when I say whole night, I mean morning too, like after hours, do the whole shebang and go to work in the morning. Nothing would be affected. And when I mean nothing would be affected, I'm not even talking about like my body or anything. I'm just saying, yes, I'm just saying like spiritually, nothing would be blocked. Like when it was time for me to stop drinking, I would notice blockages in my life. Like, oh, I'm trying to do this, but this isn't working. And then I slow down the drinking. Like, okay, it's working, okay. And I start drinking again. Things start going haywire. Not even on some drunk shit, just on some, the frequencies not matching. You know what I mean? So, yes, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. I was telling a friend this, too. This was a friend, their thing was smoking. It wasn't drinking. And I had to break down, like, it's not about the smoking. Because, like, it was funny because I was literally, like, I think I was giving the person a tarot reading as we're smoking weed. And I'm telling the person in the car is saying, like, yo, you got to stop smoking. So as I'm explaining it to him, like, no, it's not necessarily the act of smoking. And I think it's the same thing with drinking. It's not always the act of drinking. A lot of times, the reason why we're getting blocked when we do things that aren't necessarily good for us is because we're attached. It's our attachment to those things. So, if someone can just stop smoking whenever they want to, then I don't believe the Most High is not going to necessarily make that a blockage. That's not really your vice. But for someone, so basically that person may be able to smoke all they want to because smoking's not a big thing to them. You know, it's like, whatever, I can take it, I can leave it. But for someone who tweets, cries, have mental breakdowns that they can't smoke, then the Most High might be like, we're going to put some blockages here until you can clean the smoking thing up. So it's just funny how life works and everyone's different. That's why I'm definitely a huge, huge speaker of like really getting to know yourself so you can notice. But you know what it is, bro. Alright, due to the changes. Oh, yeah. So, the world's changing. We're definitely privy to a lot more information than what anyone had. Even when we go back to the Michael Jackson example that we just watched, when he's watching Gene Kelly, when he's watching Fred Astaire, he's watching them just through television. If I want to go become a dancer right now and I'm actually working on my dance moves just a bit, I'll probably go take some ballroom or something. Just, I need, you know, I love doing talent, you know, picking up new talents and stuff. And it's going to help with all the other stuff I want to do. I got a lot of stuff I'm about to be tapping into. But if I want to learn how to dance, I just got to go on YouTube and type in, let's say I want to study Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. Just type them in, and I can watch them for hours. He had to wait for the special to come on, for him to come on television. It might have been on July 10th. Gene Kelly. So he had to really wait and hope, pray to God his parents didn't have another arrangement that where they couldn't watch it or wouldn't be at home, or his parents didn't want to watch something else on that one TV set that they had in the house. Feel me? That's a lot. So with us, we have so many advantages. And even when I talk to my dad, I love my dad because he's, I should say I do love my dad, but what I should say is that one of the things that I really love about my dad is he's really still up on everything. So he can get on, like how I just started this podcast. I'm sure if I was like, Dad, start a podcast tomorrow, he give him a couple weeks and he would know how to run all this stuff. Like, he's very quick because at the end of the day, he realizes, like, shit, I'm still here and everything's still changing, so I'm going to adapt with it. I'm not going to get left behind. And that's one of the biggest things that we're going to have to deal with. It's like the movie. But in the real world, like, you can literally get left behind. And with technology, the thing that's so scary is technology literally shifts every year. Like, I was just thinking about that. I forget exactly why I was thinking about it, but it was like every year is like we have really peaked like a lot in technology. So like if we okay, so let's look at an example. It's 2022. If we go back to 2018, we were still using 4G technology. Let's say 2022, let's go back to 2016. TikTok wasn't a thing, which means the music industry hadn't changed completely with short content and all that. Any other examples of things that had yet to happen in 2016? I don't believe TikTok was a thing yet. I think it was still Musically. Yeah, but even with the way the programs are, like right now, you can now get paid for your reels. Like on YouTube, they always had a partnership program where you could get paid for your content. But now every platform is starting to adopt this. It's starting to make sure that the everyday man and woman who creates content on there every day can get paid for said content. So that's a huge technological advancement, and it's going to shift how we make money. It's going to shift how we view the world, how we view content, because now we're all being allotted the chance to become our own little television networks. And when I'm my own television network, I can then do things just like this. Alright, y'all. Cut to the commercial. If you would like to advertise your business on Ether's World, reach out to me via email, genether33 at gmail.com. That's genether33 at gmail.com. Reach out to me if you would like to have your business or your brand displayed on Ether's World during a live viewing. All right, let's get back to the show. So yeah, that's going to get cleaner as well. That's my first time working it in. We're probably going to have another scene for that. But like I said, it's allowing the everyday person to even see different waves of money. Like, oh, wait a minute. I could start a podcast. I could start running ads on the podcast. And that's me running ads right here. Right? Yeah, I mean, like literally I picked up the ad I wanted to run. That's not even talking about when I throw it on YouTube and they run ads on it and they start paying me for those ads. Or when I put it on Reels and they run ads up against it and I get paid a percentage for that. So we're going to see just a lot of things open up for us where it was like, okay, only the elite had access. Like only the elite could start their own TV show back in the day. You feel me? Only the elite. Like, and when I say, yeah, I mean, I don't want us to, let me try to break it down. Because a lot of times when we think content creator, we automatically go like Gary V, Drink Champs, Gilly the Kid, even TD Jakes, you know what I mean? Whatever your demo is, we go for those people. But one thing I enjoy about it is I really feel like whatever your thing is now, you can get paid for it. Whatever you like to do or enjoy doing, you can get paid for it. It's just all about you displaying it at this point. You feel me? It's just all about you making a piece of content that shows you doing it. If you want to teach others how to do it, that's another thing. Like a lot of what I'm going to be using this platform for, like you see, is just putting information out, running courses, making sure I'm making everyone aware of what is happening around us. So in a nutshell, like I said, doors have been opened that were locked for many, many moons. So we're going to have to definitely take advantage of all these new opportunities, pay attention as we see new things creeping in. I would be definitely paying attention to that cryptocurrency world. Hell, I would even still be paying attention to the stock market world, because for the regular person like you and I, that's new stuff. I mean, there was a time where not only just the rich, but you had to be of a certain financial ilk to really think about investing. That day's over. So all the information that is open to us right now is something that we need to really like stop sleeping on. Like at the end of the day, we were spending a lot of money on school. We're going to talk about school too. We're going to definitely have an episode on college. We were spending a lot of money on school, right? Which, not against college. I think college is great. If you're someone who wants to learn something right now, but you feel like you don't have the money to go to school, you're not trying to put in that financial aid and you have all the resources. There's millions of courses online. There's Skillshare. There's another online place that teaches you different skills, and these are actually being taught by actual real masters. Like, if Fred Astaire was still alive, you could go on Skillshare and be like, shit, if any of those people, all of those people that I put up there, I think are actually dead, except for maybe Barry Gordy. Barry Gordy, if he, I don't want to, hopefully Barry Gordy's not. But yeah, so basically Skillshare, you could learn from all of those people on Skillshare if they had a Skillshare, right? Okay, yeah, Barry Gordy's still here. So yeah, you may be able to go on there and learn something from Barry Gordy, whether it be how to run a music company, a music yeah, I mean, damn, a record label. Yeah, I mean, so. Alright, so one of the things, the one who gets to their destination studies the steps it took to reach their goals. So the person that gets to their destination is going to be because they studied the steps that it took to get to their goals. It's very important. But the one who studies the mentality that it takes to get to the destination will become the master of their goals. So like I said, there's levels to this thing. You're going to have people that reach. Like, there's many people who made it in the music industry, right? Many. There's only one Michael Jackson. Shit, there's only one James Brown. And there's only one Barry Gordy. Those three people display exactly what I'm talking about. People that really, really, they didn't not only master the steps, but they studied the mentality. So, before we close out, I'm going to give you 2 books that are going to help you to study the mentality. I'm trying to throw them in the description box as well. The first book, y'all, is Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, the first book is Think and Grow Rich. Now, it's funny, I do not own Think and Grow Rich because I believe that was one of the first books I read when I started reading books. And I think it even took me maybe a year or 2 to even really get on my book movement. So I want to say I borrowed that book from my mom when I was living with her and read it. But yeah, Think and Grow Rich. What's so great about Think and Grow Rich? Napoleon Hill's the one who wrote the book. Napoleon Hill is basically I don't want to give away the whole story. I can't even remember the whole story, to be truthful. But I want to say the main premise of this is the fact that Napoleon Hill wanted to become business partners with Carnegie. And I want to say he went to Carnegie Mellon, that is. I want to say he went to a dinner of Carnegie Mellon's. Napoleon Hill was poor. He wasn't rich like Carnegie Mellon. Now, Carnegie Mellon got massive rich friends. And I mean, he is chilling with Heinz, the That's basically who Heinz Field is named after, and also the owner of the Heinz Ketchup Company. Who else is Carnegie's cool with Westinghouse, George Westinghouse. He's the guy who did a lot of the bridges and all that. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to see what we're going to do next week on Sunday. I'm not sure yet, but I'll tag you when I post up next Sunday's episode. But yeah, so Carnegie Carnegie Mellon, he was rich and he had very rich friends. Frick was his friend. Heinz was his friend. I mean, these was all prominent people. Napoleon Hill was not rich. I don't even know how he got an invite to this damn party, but he went to the party. He ends up being able to talk to Carnegie. Carnegie tells him, obviously he took a liking to this man, so he sends him out on what we would call today as a dummy mission. Carnegie Mellon tells Napoleon Hill that he wants him to go meet these people and interview them. Now, all of these people were people that were prominent in their own fields. If they weren't already prominent, they were like people that were on their way. Not all of them were prominent, I don't want to say that, but the people that he interviewed ended up being people that we all know, the world-renowned people, all right? Let me try to give y'all a good copy, a cheaper copy. Think and Grow Rich. Y'all want a hard? Yeah, I'm going to put y'all a hardcover. I like hardcovers. Nah, give y'all the paperback. I think this is the original cover too. I think it's the cover from back in the day. Come on. Alright, so yeah, so basically all the people that he went off to interview, they're people that we know well today, right? But I don't know, I'm going to try to put this link in here. I want to get credit for it, so I'm going to try to put that affiliate link in. So anyway, all the people that Napoleon Hill went off to interview, he agreed. He said, yeah, he would do it. He traveled the world. I guess he had enough, like, I guess Carnegie gave him enough to, like, hop on the trains and meet people. And through this, he got to meet the stories, or meet the people who would go on to change the world. I know one of the people he met was Henry Ford. And when he met Henry Ford, he was in this busted down, broken down garage, working, tinkering on something. Yeah, I mean, tinkering on something. And when he sat down to talk to him, he thought to himself, why the hell would Carnegie send me to talk to this crazy ass man who's tinkering on whatever this is? And whatever that was turned out to be the T model Ford. So either the T model Ford or the block engine itself that went into the T model Ford, one of the two. But either way, he met some profound people, and from him personally going out and talking to them, he really got to see the mind state of them. And from you reading the book, you're going to really get to see the mind state of Napoleon Hill's crazy ass for going out on this dummy mission, and the mind state of all the other people that he meets. It's a great story. It's I love these books. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's told more so like a novel, so it's a fun read. It's not really hard to read. It's entertaining. It's an entertaining read. Now the next book, the next book I got to suggest for y'all. When I got this book, and shout out Astro Queen. When I got this book, y'all, it was at the right time. I was working on mixing and mastering, and horrible process. I read this book probably a year ago, and I'm just now literally getting somewhere with the mixing and mastering where I'm like, okay, this shit, it sounds good. It sounds like the music is so how it's supposed to sound, right? So this book really got me through that process for real. 3 Feet from Gold is basically explaining that you don't want to stop. They keep reiterating the point too, but there's a specific story. First, let me tell you about the book, like the origins of the book. This book, I told you about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book comes from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So they ended up making a whole foundation about Napoleon Hill, and they produced different works that help the everyday man and woman get up and get out and get something, right? So it's by Sharon L. Letcher and Dr. Greg S. Reed. That's all I'm going to say. Now, there's a story that does speak on 3 Feet from Gold. There is a specific story that speaks on it, and I'll give you the basic premise to that because they reiterate it so much that it's not necessarily special in the book. But I won't tell you the story, but what they will say is, no, I'll tell you the story. There was a guy, because the story's funny as hell, it's messed up. So there was a guy, right? Him and his son. I guess they were prospectors. I believe this was during the gold rush in California. So they weren't prospectors. That's what it was. They weren't prospectors. They just knew about the gold rush like everyone else did. And during this time, it was a big thing. Even if I want to say they might have been from Cali, but I don't know. So, like, this was so big that I live in Pittsburgh. This was so huge, the gold rush, that I would move from Pittsburgh and go to Cali to try to go tap in and dig up some gold, you know? It's funny as hell now I'm thinking about it, but this also comes from, I don't know if y'all would know about this, shows my, I told y'all what it is, what I grew up on, but the Beverly Hillbillies, that whole show was surrounded by the gold rush. That's literally what happened. He was out, he shot the gold. He was actually shooting at some type of, and probably a raccoon or something to eat, a squirrel, and he shot into the ground and oil came up. So the gold rush. So they were out there digging for gold. I want to say they even invested, because the man and his son had to invest in the equipment to dig. So they got the equipment they needed. They found the location where they wanted to dig. I almost want to say that they got wind of a good location, like where it was supposed to be hot for this oil. So, or for this gold. So that's what it was. And thingy, it was Texas tea. It was oil. They struck oil. So the gold rush is about striking gold. So anyway, him and his son, they got the equipment. They had their eyes on the right spot. They started drilling. And they drilled for a very long time. Like, they couldn't believe it. Like, how the hell is this not working? How? Oh my God. And they invested, I want to say they invested money on to get the equipment. Like, they borrowed money from their families. Like, oh, I'm telling y'all, we know where the gold is. Da, da, da. So, bang, they do all that. They can't find the gold. So, someone comes up. So, they must have bought the equipment. So, someone else who knew about the gold rush, y'all, guess what that person, the other person who knew about the gold rush, they weren't so hasty. Remember I told you the man and the son, they just were like kind of like the commoner. They knew about some shit. They took off running for their pot of gold. Now this other guy who comes along after the man and his son had been working hard as hell to get this gold, they come along and they find the man after they pretty much given up. And they tell him, like, we're interested in digging for gold. We'll buy your equipment, which was great. I could be mistelling this story, but I believe I'm pretty, like I said, I read this book like a year ago, but I think I'm pretty much on point. It's, give or take. So I want to say the man bought the equipment off of the boy and his father, which was nice, because now they got to give their family their money back that they took from them for this whole venture, right? But the other man, he might have had a son as well. Before he even came to dig gold, he studied. He did the research. He went and called other people who knew anything about doing any type of drilling. So he had a lot of knowledge. And when he went to go dig for gold, it took him like 2 days. It took that other man like 6 months, and then he gave up. It took this guy like 2 days, and by the time he started drilling, he already knew, like, yep, this is it. Now I just gotta keep going, right? And bang, he got his gold rush. And now, imagine how the other two must have felt. Now, I don't know if they ever went back to a correspondence, like if the two original guys who were trying to go for the gold ever got to talk to that man. But the lesson learned was luck always favors the prepared. So it don't matter what comes your way, what opportunity comes your way. If you haven't prepared yourself, prepared your mentality to accept it, you'll never be able to grasp hold of it, y'all. So definitely go check out Think and Grow Rich, and go check out 3 Feet from Gold. And I definitely suggest both of these books, y'all. Both of these books. This one, like I said, is written by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So it's written pretty much the same way as the original book written by Napoleon Hill himself. So go check it out. It's a great read. It has I don't even want to tell y'all. That's a good book. That's one of my favorite books. I would say that's the number 1 book I've read. And I've read a lot of good books, but that one I enjoyed a lot. Alright, y'all, it's your girl Jen Ether. I've been on for about an hour, but that's about all I gotta say on becoming the best version of yourself, at least for today. That's gonna be an ongoing topic, a residual thing that we do. Why? Because we're always trying to become the greater versions of ourselves. That's really nothing or something that we'll ever stop achieving in life. So we're always gonna come back to this topic. We'll be doing more me and you type of episodes, and then when I can, I'll pull in clips. I can't always pull in clips. I gotta do special stuff to pull them in because I don't want to keep getting them copyright claims. So that's why this one was more so a me and you. I did some jet setting type stuff to make it happen. So, Age of Aquarius, we're out here. Things are shifting. Before we get off, things are shifting. This is the age of the real trendsetter, guys. When I said earlier, I was talking about trend setting. I said the word gets misused because it's something that we use so often. It gets just thrown out there that you're a trendsetter, you're a trendsetter, you know, it's like we're Oprah. You're a trendsetter, you're a trendsetter, you're a trendsetter. But if everyone's a trendsetter, then no one's a trendsetter. So in this age of Aquarius, we're really going to see the true trendsetter stepping out. Why do I say that? I'm looking at it like from this perspective, guys. The age of Aquarius marks a new era, meaning that a lot of people are going to still be in the residual energy of the old era. A lot of the new things that are coming in are going to seem foreign, and a lot of people won't be ready to accept the change fully. And anyone who embraces this new era and is kind of just flowing with it is going to kind of seem a little out of place until we're fully in it. So right now we're definitely about to see the trendsetters and who's really like, okay, this motherfucker's on it. They're first on some shit. And I mean, this is going to be a time for us to relinquish the thoughts of others, to relinquish if people care about what the hell we doing. It's going to be one of those moments, and we're going to see a lot of replacements, basically. A lot of replacements. Let me give an example what I mean by replacement. If we've been seeing Facebook running it, we're going to see something else running it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like really Facebook. I'm just saying like we're going to see a lot of different things go on. Like Elon Musk, I believe we're going to see him with a greater reach than what we've seen. But he's on that, you know, he's born for Aquarius. Elon Musk. We're probably going to definitely do an episode on him too. He's very interesting. So we're going to talk about Elon Musk at some point in the show. Yeah, I mean, so just keep on doing you. Keep being the trendsetter that you are. Keep living up to your own expectations and to the expectations and agreements that you've made with the Most High to continue to live out your life contract, to continue to be the greatest version of yourself. And I'm going to keep doing me, keep coming up with this fly content to bring to you every week, Sunday nights, Sunday evenings. All right, y'all. You just watched another episode of Ether's World. I want to thank James for coming in. He was like the special guest. He was the co-host for today. So thank you, James, for definitely showing me love. And we got to get a game of pool in. I'm going to practice, though, before. And make sure you hop on that 8-ball, bro, because I can hit you up over there, too. All right, y'all. You just watched another one of Ether's World. I'm out. Peace.